Hello, we are Team Tangi, and this is our project for datafest 2026. Health systems see patients as snapshots, a visit, a diagnosis, and a discharge. But patients don't live in snapshots, they live in journeys. So we asked the simple question of 4 years of encounter data. When someone walks into Stormont Vale with chest pain, what happens next? Our cohort is 21,482 patients, and our window is from 2022 to 2025. And what we found is that the strongest predictor of whether a patient gets cardiac care isn't just their age, their history, or their risk factors. It's whether they continue to walk through the door.
We started out with a simple logistic regression, essentially modeling what characteristics increase or decrease the odds that a chest pain patient receive a cardiac workup, the initial check. We deliberately chose logistic regression as it allows us to compare the effects of every predictor at once, controlling for all other variables. On the right side of the line, in red, are the predictors that should matter, and they do. Prior cardiac diagnosis triples the odds. Age over 75 more than doubles them. The system recognizes risk. For the bottom of the chart, in blue, entering through primary care, the ED, or imaging cuts the odds of a cardiac workup by roughly 75 to 80%. But the portion that really interests us the most, what was in gray, specifically how patients from rural communities tended to get a workup at an average rate compared to the population, or even at a slightly higher rate. This challenged many of the previously held assumptions that we had about rural communities struggling to access healthcare services. The issue of treating rural patients was beyond just getting them through the door.
Now, taking a step back, we wanted to do a similar analysis on the next step, with follow-up likelihood, but this time we were looking for patterns in the patients that received and didn't receive follow-ups. We chose to do this by clustering the data around a few of those previously significant variables. Instead of using k-means or Gaussian mixture models, we used support vector machine, specifically clustering. When the graph is plotted for the actual data, there's a lot of bleed in the regions of follow-up versus no follow-up. So we selected a method that drew a hard boundary that could be drawn non-linearly, best reflecting the patterns we observed. We found the second most significant predictor to be living in a rural area, ahead of even age, race, ethnicity, and more. This model provided us with an 85% accuracy, showing strong associations in the patterns we predicted and found.
So what are the ramifications of that pattern look like in a patient's life? This is a Sankey diagram that traces every chest pain patient's first 2 care visits, the first event on the left and the second event on the right, ribbon thickness proportional to patient volume. Look at the bottom. That massive amber ribbon is primary care. 3 out of 4 primary care patients, 76%, never have a second cardiac event within 90 days. They walk in with chest pain, got an appointment, and the journey ended. This isn't a system that does cardiac care badly. It is a system with a coordination gap between primary care and cardiology.
Using CDC Add Local data for better health, with our given dataset, we mapped average follow-up encounters per patient by census block. Darker blocks get more care and lighter blocks get less. Darker blocks cluster near the main campus, light blocks cluster on the western and southern fringes. This is the same findings as the forest plot, the SVM, and the Sankey, now with coordinates. It's important to note that not all rural counties face this problem. For example, Marion County, despite being located on the southwest side of Kansas, still has an average follow-up rate of about 7 times.
Our recommendation focuses on 3 key actions, implemented through a targeted outreach pilot in the 5 rural census blocks with the lowest follow-up rates. First, we propose expanding digital communication, particularly through already existing systems like MyCharts notifications, which emerge as a significant positive predictor of follow-up adherence in our regression analysis. Second, we recommend offering transportation vouchers and prioritizing telehealth-first follow-up options, as patients in rural fringe areas face the longest travel times and the greatest access barriers. Third, we suggest deploying community health workers to conduct check-ins within 7 days of any chest pain encounter, ensuring timely follow-up and the continuity of care. Our goal is to ensure that patients already in the system can successfully navigate it and receive the care they need at every step of their journey. The healthcare system isn't supposed to be a revolving door where patients enter one way and immediately leave the other. By acknowledging the way the barriers within rural communities continue to play a role in the accessibility of treatment throughout a patient's journey, the more effectively we can combat the health issues that they face, creating a clear hallway where patients are able to reach their healthcare goals. Thank you.